Hello, everyone. As always, I am your host, Anthony Rader of the Politically Unhinged podcast. So, I want to talk about the markets. It's, the markets have gotten a lot more competitive, and they are showing now that it is now 57.5 to 42.5 with Trump versus Harris. Now, people want to go ahead and say, hey, does this really mean anything? I'm going to tell you right now, not necessarily. This is just people betting on where they want to go ahead and say, hey, I think this person's going to do this. Now, the reason why people are going to head and saying this stuff is because, well, they're looking at some of the polling that is coming out in these states. And quite frankly, I'm going to be honest, this polling's all bullshit. That's literally all that it is. People like to go ahead and say that the polls are a lot more accurate right now. Oh, and well, it is not. And Gabe, I am on StreamYard for this. I can't do that on this, unfortunately, because I am going ahead and streaming on multiple platforms. But if you do want to join for a little bit, go ahead and message me. I'll send you a link. And if you want to have just a normal discussion, let's go ahead and do that. But I do want to go ahead and talk about this data that we're seeing right now and why I think that this, in all honesty, is a good thing for Trump and why, well, it's not necessarily anything to be worried about. So, like I said, that all that these markets are just people saying like, oh, let's just see what we want. Now, the good news is that, look, President Donald Trump is still up in Pennsylvania. Now, he has fallen in Wisconsin. Wisconsin has turned into a complete toss-up, according to Poly Market. But I still have Trump winning Wisconsin. This is going to be a tight race in these blue wall states. But I do have Trump winning the blue wall. I also think we're going to be seeing something for like the first time since the 80s. Where the blue wall actually goes ahead and splits. The blue wall will eventually split, and quite frankly, it's going to be a good time. This is going to be a great time to see what could possibly happen with everything going on. So, now, what people are going to say, we have to be worried about this. Well, not necessarily, all right? The thing is that all the polling is showing is a little bit of a trend. But all these polls are from leftist pollsters. All right? That's the thing. There you go. Now, if we want to talk about our reliable pollsters and actually look at the data for everything, so for instance, in Pennsylvania, what we're looking at is that USA Today has Harris and Trump at a tie. Then we're looking at Marist in the Washington Post, which is one of the biggest left-leaning groups. I'm sorry. We shouldn't really take this into account. The thing is that if Marist and the Washington Post are saying that Harris is up by 2 or 1 points, then quite frankly, she isn't. And it's that simple of a fact. And it's just one of those things. Now, I do want to go ahead and look at the polling in other states other than Pennsylvania. Obviously, people are like, well, Pennsylvania is the state to win. But the reason why I'm saying that we don't have to really worry about it is that if we look at the other states, it's it's still very competitive. All these states, folks, are within the margin of error. And I told you how the polling works in these places. They will come out with the outcome themselves. And if we're looking at this, look, we have Morris right here, +2, and they have CNN at +6. That's the only reason why they're saying that Harris is up. There's no other reason. Plus, if you look at the data that they're using to poll these people, it doesn't matter. Look, this was done a few days ago with CNN, where it's a +6. This is not a +6 state. Hell, it's not even a +2. This state is going to go either direction under 1%. And the only reason why Harris is up is because this +6 right here. That's it. That +6 is such a non sequitur. It doesn't even matter to the polling. So when people are looking at the RCP data and they're going ahead and saying, hey, this is what it means, they're wrong. The thing is that yes, the markets are a great thing to utilize when it comes to this stuff. But it's just one of those things that we have to take into account when it comes to it. So yeah, the markets are now showing Harris up in Wisconsin, but it is only by a 6 points. And yeah, she's up in Michigan by 18, but let's look at the actual data when it comes to these places. So if we look at the actual polling, stuff is, I don't fucking care about Arizona right now. Yo, Michigan. All right. One that's reliable. The Fox News polling still fucking sucks, I'll be honest. And look at this. CNN, Harris +5. Detroit News, Harris +3. The Detroit Free Press, that's not how it's going to be. None of these states are going to be an overwhelming victory. Atlas Intel, it's a weird poll. That polling for Atlas Intel can go either way. And quite frankly, it is how it is. But we have to understand that these states are swing states because they're not going to be that competitive. If they're not going to be an overwhelmingly push. All right. Now, I do have someone that asked to come on just now over on Instagram. They want some more information, so we'll go ahead and welcome them. Hello, Gabe. How you doing? Do you got any questions for me?
I'm doing very good. Like I don't know about the pollings too much right now, so I want to know a little bit more about the pollings because like I'm paying attention to the candidates, all that, but like I'm not too well versed in the pollings right now. All I know is like it's all up to the Electoral College. I feel like the national vote for president doesn't really count for anything.
Correct. So, as someone that works in politics, I've told people that we need to just stop looking at the national polling, period. Matter of fact, I don't think we should be counting or telling people the national votes anyway.
I think the
because
Electoral
it all
College
comes
is stupid.
to the Electoral
College shouldn't exist.
Why do you think that?
It's about like making states that have like less population be represented more, but it shouldn't be about representing more states. It should be about representing the voters.
So okay, so what state are you in?
Florida.
Florida. Okay, so as Florida, you're in a bigger state. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you know the history of why we have the Electoral College?
Why don't you go ahead and tell me? I don't know if I'm going to be exactly correct.
Okay, so our founding fathers knew that a pure democracy is mob rule, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen pure democracies work out all the time, and they ultimately fail within a few decades, right? Now, the Electoral College was made so states have an equal say, basically. Yeah. Now, we are talking about there's more population density right now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but the Electoral College is actually off now. Florida should actually have 2 more electoral votes, and I believe Texas should have 1 more.
All right.
But that's not really part of the conversation right now. But it was so that people could have more of a say, because if we go back to when the country was first founded, basically only Virginia and New York would have had a say.
Okay.
Right. And quite frankly, so I'm in a very liberal state. I don't like it. Right. Obviously. I mean, we all see my shirt. Right. So, uh, so when we talk about the Electoral College and people say like we want to disband it, it's I always bring up, how would you like only California and New York making your decisions?
All right.
Quite frankly, I personally don't like it. And what it will do is that your presidential candidates won't go ahead and focus on the entire country anymore and focus on where they need to actually get out the vote. They would just go ahead and they would just focus on 2 states, basically. Does that make sense?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, when we're talking about like the election with the electoral college and everything, if Trump doesn't lose, do you feel like, will you accept that, or?
Yeah, so I will accept the outcome no matter what. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's now I'll be honest, I didn't like the results in 2020. I actually went to Trump's event on J6. I didn't storm the Capitol like those idiots though. But I was there, right? But I will accept the results no matter what. But I think this election is going to be a lot more fair, because I think in 2020 we had a lot more mail-in voting, which went ahead and it made it a lot easier for people, which I'm fine with making voting easier. But if we're going to do it in such a drastic way, we need to phase it in.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just thinking like a lot of people, there's like extremes on both sides. An extreme in any way is like wrong.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like there are going to be people who just won't accept it like before, because I don't know really 100%, but like just from like on the news and what I've seen like thus forth since like the last election, Trump's been on like a slow descent. He's saying like much more like radical stuff. It's like really weird, like when he's on stage like dancing for 40 minutes listening to music, or saying stuff about how Puerto Rico's a trash island.
So that trash island thing was not him. That was a stand-up comic. He's known for roast comedy.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it was him. I'm just saying like at his rallies, the people he's bringing on. It's not like he said, "Oh, that's wrong," or he's playing along with the rhetoric. It's like, because people do take things out of context, I feel like he should be addressing these things, but he's not. So
yeah, I completely understand that. That's so. Oh, so I do want to let you know, with like, I worked on campaigns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So these people that go ahead and they're saying all this stuff. So what happens is that when we have these events, the people that are on the campaigns will go ahead and typically select speakers that they would like to hear from.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the candidate will go ahead and select them.
Yeah.
It's what we would go ahead and do it.
Mm-hmm.
But so like when Trump says like he's never even met the guy,
mm-hmm.
fully well he might have never actually met the guy.
Right. It's also like, I feel like, do you watch Ben Shapiro?
Yes, I do. I am a Daily Wire subscriber.
All right. Well, like, I feel like on the thing where it's like 25 Democrats versus like 1 Republican, I feel like they brought people on there that were like extremists and like didn't know what they were saying, specifically to make Ben Shapiro look good, because none of them had like any valid arguments at all, and it was like the stupidest thing I'd ever watched.
Yeah. So That was Jubilee, and Jubilee does
Jubilee.
that for
Jubilee
both
does
of them.
that for it's like that.
Yeah, they do that for everything. And Jubilee has gone off the deep end no matter what. But and quite frankly, I used to watch some of their videos. I thought they were great. For instance, can all these black guys identify the only white guy? I like that they showed that it was a culture that you were growing up in with that. But with that being said, it's just these people are going ahead and it's just what it is. But the thing is that I understand there's extremes on both sides. I'm a constitutionalist through and through. I believe that it's written black and white easily. Done. And I mean, if you've seen my stuff, I criticize both sides. I fucking hate both sides. So I'm only registered Republican because I like to vote in primaries.
That makes sense, yeah.
But do you got any questions about the Trump campaign or?
Or here. Why don't you clarify? I like the stuff about abortion. He keeps fluctuating back and forth. That's what he's saying about abortion.
Yeah. So what about abortion exactly are you curious about?
Whether or not Roe v. Wade should be reinstated or the right to choose, stuff like that.
Okay, so Roe v. Wade should not be reinstated on the federal level because on the federal level with everything, they go ahead and they outline everything in the Constitution. That is that is your rights according to the federal government, right? So the federal government doesn't outline anything with abortion. Matter of fact, Ruth Bader Ginsburg said that she would have actually voted to overturn Roe v. Wade if it was heard while she was alive. So Roe v. Wade, she actually said it was bad law, by the way. But the reason why I take so pride in that
is because do you believe in the right to choose then or no?
I personally am pro-life. All right. So,
but if you're pro-life, I feel like that means you yourself should abstain, and it shouldn't be a law preventing other people.
Oh no, I agree. So, I do believe in the exceptions, though. So, I do believe in those. I am pro-life through and through, but I will always go to the exceptions. Now, I understand there are times that people.
Do you mean other than exceptions? Do you mean people should just be allowed to? It should be just in between them and their doctors. Shouldn't the government shouldn't play any part in that. Up to a certain point, because at some point it is like a baby at that point. But I mean,
So mother's health, rape, incest, right? I believe in those exceptions. That makes sense, right?
Other than the exceptions, I think people should be allowed to choose, and if you yourself don't believe in it, you should abstain because all the arguments about religion, I think, shouldn't be considered as much because there's a separation between church and state. So it should be up to you, the person, to decide whether or not you want to go through with it or not, and make other people abstain from it because they may want to make their own decisions because they may not have the same religious beliefs as you. So I feel like it's more important to just have the opportunity for people. And if you decide not to, okay, sure, good on you. But just because you believe in something, I don't think everyone else shouldn't be allowed to do it.
No, I definitely see your point right there. Now, I will say this: I'm not for a federal ban, right? I believe people do have the right to choose on their local governments, right, to decide what they want to do. That's why I'm in favor of Roe v. Wade being overturned, right? So, in my state of Maryland, Roe v. Wade is codified in the state constitution. No. Now, personally, I believe you should have the baby, right? Obviously, all right. My little sister was born 3 months early. I don't go ahead and tell people hey, can't do it. Now, when it comes to the task of abortion, when people bring it up on a federal election, now, I think these people are stupid and it's a non-answer to go ahead and do it. But So when it comes to a federal election, and people shouldn't be talking about it. It's now according to the states. That's when you guys talk about it.
Yeah.
So let's say that you and I were both running in Florida, right?
I feel like it's a 6-week ban. It's a 6-week ban in Florida, right?
Something like that. It's the heartbeat bill, I think it is.
Yeah, if it's a 6-week ban, a lot of women don't know they're pregnant by 6 weeks because it takes longer than that to find out.
Yeah.
which I think is just unfair in general.
Yeah. So I will tell people that although I'm pro-life, if people want to say, hey, let's go ahead and go up to the first term, I will give you that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So first term is how many weeks again? I don't remember.
That's 3 months. So that's
3
about
months.
12 weeks.
That's pretty reasonable, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep my like I think logically, I don't think with emotion, basically.
Yeah.
That's how I put everything. So I mean, people do ask me, hey, I want to give you the easiest answer. Where do I lean politically? All right. I think gay couples have every right to protect their marijuana farms with machine guns. So,
yeah,
if
so
that makes sense for you.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Also, like a lot of people, like some people just can't afford it, so it's can't afford to have a kid and just putting the children through the system. I know a lot of people who have been through the system who don't know their actual parents. It's a traumatic experience. Not everyone, it's not great for everyone, which I feel like uh, there's a bunch of problems with it, but that's separate and there's nothing. The presidential election has anything to do with it.
Yeah. I will say this though: if you're pro-life, you also have to be pro-adoption.
Yeah.
All right. And as someone that wants to have a family and all, I want to adopt kids.
Mm-hmm.
Kids. So being pro-adoption is a great thing to be. Being pro, if you're pro-life and you're not pro-adoption, I don't know where your
I feel
morals
like that. I
exactly
feel
lie.
like that's hypocritical. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to say that you're pro-life and you don't want to adopt kids, I think at the very least you need to be open to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if it was up to me right now in a perfect world, I would have already had a wife, children, and I probably would have adopted already.
Yeah. On that, like about the economy, because like they're pushing the economy as like a really big issue. But I feel like obviously right when Joe Biden took presidency, the economy was like a huge issue, but that wasn't entirely on him. There was a bunch of like predetermining factors before that, which I feel like it's been okay. They've done an okay job mitigating it so far. Like gas isn't like $5 a gallon anymore, but it's not exactly cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is that a lot of that's with the policies that the Biden-Harris administration has pushed forward as
Mm-hmm.
well. Now, people like to say that this is not going to really affect anything. Yeah, but if you look at the policies with the Harris administration, let's say there's a Harris administration,
Mm-hmm.
it's basically going to be a continuation of this one. Like policy-wise, it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so
it's also like it's weird. Like Kamala says, "Oh, the border is all fine, this and that." She's never been,
yeah.
and it's like a
Oh, sorry
even
about
with
that.
oh yeah, even with the policy saying the border's closed, it's still like a
Yeah.
huge issue. The border could be closed. That doesn't mean people are gonna stop coming through.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like a much larger issue with. I feel like if it was easier to become legal, most people would start coming here more legally. But there will always be illegal immigrants, no matter what. Like I do debate. The last topic was like, should we increase border security on the southern border? And we have to do both. And there's a lot of good arguments for both. But I think for the affirmation, yes, we should. The main argument was, look how much drugs, guns are coming into the country. Look how much violence is happening. I'm not saying every single immigrant's a serial killer, but I'm not saying the cartels aren't bringing drugs through. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'll tell you this. Look, I grew up on the border. So I believe in the most secure border as you can. That's humanly possible. Now, I do know that there are people that are going to get away no matter what. But I will say this. I personally, I personally don't think we need to make the immigration process easier. But I do see the argument where people say that they need to. I do understand that argument.
I'm not entirely saying it like to be easier, but I feel like there should be like a way for more people to be like educated on and shown how to do it more or less.
So there is. So what a lot of the
because like a lot of the people who come through illegally, they just like hop over the wall. They have no idea what they're doing. They don't speak English. They don't know anything. But I feel like if more people like knew about it, there'd be a lot more legal crossings rather than illegal crossings.
So how would you suggest we would fix that necessarily?
Obviously I'm not an expert on the subject, so I'm not going to have the best idea, but I feel like
just your
we
opinion.
have the best relations with Mexico we've had in a really long time. So I feel like there could be like a specific campaign running through Mexico, maybe English classes. We teach Spanish in America. They could teach English in Mexico.
So
and offer classes like Mexico they should offer classes in public schooling systems that like teach people like how to like obtain citizenship legally, stuff like that.
Yeah, so almost kind of like the Remain in Mexico policy that we had, but with different routes, you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like now coyotes and like guides provided by the cartel to bring like to human traffic people into the country, like to bring them into the country in exchange for them bringing drugs or guns or whatever. I feel like if there was like not an easier process, but like if more people were educated, they would start and there was like a better pass or like passage to get through. Less people would be relying on the cartels and they would be doing it themselves and coming here legally.
All right. All right. Yeah, I see your point. That's a fair point. I like that point for you. Yeah. Now, like I said, I personally don't think it should be easier. Now, I do. So
yeah, I'm not saying it should be easier. I feel like there should just be better ways for people to be educated, so they're more inclined to do it legally.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely see that point. I like that point. Thing is that we have to understand that we can't really force another government.
Yeah, we can't do that. But I feel like the way that Mexico is one of our biggest trade relationships right now, so I feel like they'd be more inclined to want to cooperate with us as of now than they were, say, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely something that you can solve with diplomacy and going ahead and saying, hey, if we can go ahead and work this out, let's go ahead and do it.
Because obviously, I'm pretty sure the Mexican government doesn't exactly like the cartel going around shooting everybody. So they probably want to.
So I can tell you this. So a lot of the presidents in Mexico have a lot of cartel backing.
Yeah, but now it's a little different now. The president right now is a lot better than they've had in the past. So
really, huh?
Yeah, it's the first woman president who's also Jewish, so it's like a big deal, I guess.
Okay, that's what I heard. I didn't hear anything else. I heard that, like, she's connected to the cartels, but I didn't do too much research in that. But that's also because
cartel crime, like the statistics for the last like 4 years have actually gone down drastically, but there's still such a large amount that it's not as big of a difference as you would have thought. Like on paper it looks big, but like in application it's not as big because there's still like so much cartel activity.
Now, with that, I mean, do you think Mexico could be going through something where like the US did, where like necessarily they didn't report everything?
There's 100% a possibility, but I feel like now with the amount of information we're already getting from Mexico, they would have no reason to lie about it, or at least like such a little reason.
Okay. Yeah. I'm only asking you that because I didn't do any research into this, so I'm gonna try to poke around as much as I can.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they have less reason now to go against us than ever. They're actually giving us like the most counterterrorism information out of like any country right now.
Huh. Yeah, I didn't know that. So.
Yeah, because we're so closely related with them now, and they're so close to us that they just have the most information to offer. So we're getting most of our counterterrorism information on the cartels from the Mexican government themselves.
Oh, that's really good information. Thank you. I honestly didn't know that, but that's also because I kind of fixate on a few topics. Yeah. So
we trade them information. We give them information on Mexican criminals here, and they give us information on Mexican criminals there.
Huh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do more research into that. That's gonna be a fun research project for me.
Yeah, I'd be happy to come on anytime and just DM me.
Oh yeah, like dude, I'm actually interested in that shit. Like, but like so like it's been about a decade since I left Arizona.
Yeah.
So like I don't get to see a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously with you being in Florida, you do get a lot more people playing on like little rafts that they've made and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So like I didn't know that. I'm gonna be honest, that was pretty interesting, not gonna lie. So
Yeah, it's also like a huge thing right now is like the conflict in Israel. It's like I myself am Jewish. I don't support what the IDF's doing, but I understand why they're doing it. I don't think they're going about it the right way. But I feel like this is a huge topic that gets like misinterpreted like countless times.
So when you say you're Jewish, are you religiously Jewish or do you say
Like
ethnically?
more reform rather. Like so, I celebrate high holy days mostly, not every single
Okay.
holiday, but as much as I can.
Okay. Okay.
Obviously, I've been to Israel. You're supposed to go to Israel at least once,
All right.
and
Yeah. How is Israel? That's on
it,
my bucket
it
list.
was it was a long time. It was hot as hell. We went during summer.
Oh, note to self: don't go during summer, obviously. So,
Yeah.
uh, but yeah. So with the war in Gaza, personally, like I've been vocal on TikTok about it.
Hmm.
Uh, I think Israel should have just leveled it, but I honestly love the
Leveled
tactics
Gaza.
that yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't exactly say level Gaza, but I'm pretty sure there are better ways to go about it, less civilian deaths. But I understand that.
Yeah. So Israel actually has has the best ratio in urban warfare to terrorists and the civilian casualties
Hmm.
in history, which is a fantastic thing, by the way. I think like per like one uh, one civilian that they kill, they kill like 1.2 terrorists or something like that, or it could be the other way around. Either way, it's the best statistic in urban warfare with that.
Yeah, I just feel like the way they're going, there's like it's not exactly that they're killing so many people as like
Okay.
the humanitarian crazy guys. They shut off water because so like the only way they're getting water is mostly by rain or like they have to go somewhere else to get water.
Okay. So
It's like it's a weird subject.
yeah. So you're saying the more humanitarian aspect.
There's a
So
more
you do
humanitarian
know
aspect to
that
it.
the
Yeah,
IDF does ship that stuff into it,
yeah, they
Gaza.
do. I understand they ship
Yeah.
stuff to it, but it's like to what extent does that go to? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of it is that it does get taken over by Hamas.
Yeah, because they take everything. Hamas says they
Exactly.
represent those people,
Yeah.
but Hamas doesn't represent the ideals of those people because I've studied the Quran very not too much, but it says like you're not supposed to incite jihad or like war unless you're being provoked, but they haven't been provoked. You're not supposed to kill women or children. That's what they're doing anyways.
Yeah. So you understand that even that civilian base, right,
Hmm.
is very, like you said, extreme, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So even those kids are raised from an early age to hate the West and Israel.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I won't be out. You're more receptive than anyone that I've talked to that's like either
Yeah.
undecided or completely on the left.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not on the left. I'm not on the right. I'm
Yeah.
rather more independent.
Yeah. No, that's why I like
On like a state
independence.
level, on a state level, I'd probably vote more Democrat, but on a national level, it's a
Yeah.
lot more interesting.
Yeah. So I'm also going to tell you this. So as the founding fathers, they believed in a small federal government
Yeah.
and a bigger state government.
Hmm.
It's so, but I'm also one of those people that will say that both of them have gotten out of control,
Yeah.
which they both have. Uh, I think that we need to go ahead and get rid of the two-party system. But
That's
the Republicans don't like me saying that. So
yeah. The two party system's kind of stupid. Like I understand it, but the two parties like originally were very different compared to what they are now.
they were and they weren't at the same time. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So if we're going back to, let's say, when the Republican Party was founded with the Democrats,
Hmm.
they disputed with state rights basically. On the federal level, they basically they agreed on a majority of everything, on a majority of things.
Hmm.
So if we go and then if we go ahead and we get into like World War II and the Kennedys, right? That's when you really start getting the branch off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've even said that the worst thing that the Republicans have done is give the school system to the Democrats.
I don't think in Florida the school system, you can tell it's a lot more geared right wing as of now. Like in our U.S. history textbooks, it says slaves learned useful skills that carry on to African American families today, which I think is a crazy statement. I don't think it's ill intentioned. I just think that's such a weird thing to put in a history textbook.
Yeah, and then you have the other extreme as well with here in Maryland, the saying other bullcrap with it. Now, it's been a while since I've been out of high school for like 7 years now. So like I can't remember what it was what they said, but I just remember rolling my eyes every single time when we talked about this stuff.
Yeah, politics shouldn't be school stuff.
Correct. And that's why I said it was one of the biggest mistakes that we've done. And I don't think that the state or the federal government should have a say in it.
I did really like civics class, though. I did get a 100 on the civics end of course.
Yeah, so I will say this: since you really like civics, so a lot of civics is a mix of the two.
Yeah, U.S. history and government.
Yeah. Exactly. So what I'm saying is a mix of the two ideologies, but more so, it's more of a conservative ideology.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my brother, when he was going to Frostburg, I believe he was taking an economic class or was a civics class. The professor said, like, look, I'm a Democrat myself, but we have to go ahead and understand that our ideology does not work.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, it's like, I do understand that there are some things that the right and the left need to go ahead and take it to each other, but this stuff is fucking crazy where we can no longer agree on any little fucking thing. It is insanity. Yeah. Because both sides have gotten too extreme. We have gone ahead and decided that both sides are fucking evil, but we refuse to find the common ground. At least during the Kennedy days, we were able to. Now the Democrats and the Republicans don't want to work with each other. But a lot of that is also because the left has gone straight too far from the left from what they were originally.
I feel like that was a good discussion for today. My mom's telling me I gotta go, so.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
look, if you want to come on again, glad to have you. You know what? I will be more than happy to have you on again. And if you have any questions when it comes to policy or anything, I'll be happy to even answer them in the DMs for you.
Yeah, so just give me another time if you have a question on the board or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You have a great.
I will.
You have a great night. All right, y'all. We're going to get back into the markets for you. George Washington said to avoid a two-party system. Yes, he did. I love the I don't fuck. Yeah, I love the IDF. Yeah, definitely. The president is now terrible. Oh, fuck yeah, he is. Yeah, but not all illegal immigrants are Mexican. Correct, they are not. The reason you get to vote on abortion being allowed in your state is due to Trump. Correct. There's a difference between illegal and legal immigrants. You know, all illegal immigrants. Yeah, not all immigrants are Spanish. Correct. It's not religion. It's science. That's an unborn human. Yeah. IR garbage trucks. That is fantastic. I love that. Let's see, can I pin that? Yeah. Do I think Trump will win? Yes, I do. Trump will definitely win, Connor. Trump's floor is 272. But you guys do have to go out and vote if you haven't already. Voting is exactly what you need to do at this time. Okay. Remember, voting day is on Tuesday. That is November 5th. And we're going to make America great again on November 5th, folks. We're going to do it. Trump is still going to win in anywhere between 272 to about 320 something. Got the exact number I came up with. Already early voted, but in Jersey. Connor, I'm going to make you feel better. I'm in Maryland, so my vote didn't really count. So, in the state of Maryland, voting for Trump doesn't mean shit. I'm going to tell you that. Matter of fact, I didn't even vote for Governor Hogan for Senate. I actually wrote someone else in. I'm going to tell you this. Governor Larry Hogan hates me. Hogan hates me. The dude hates me so much that there was someone on his campaign that wanted me to work for him, and he said no. Governor Hogan has blacklisted me to work in politics in the state of Maryland. Governor Larry Hogan is a rhino who is going to fucking lose Maryland. If we went ahead and we nominated anyone else in the state of Maryland, we would have had a fighting chance at winning the Senate. But Governor Hogan is such a rhino, and he got in bed with the Democrats. He does not care. Governor Larry Hogan is a moron. He does not know what is going on with the people in the state of Maryland. The problems that we are facing today, even though it's been 2 years since he was governor, is because of him. His second term, he got in bed with the Democrats so he can actually make things happen. I do not like the guy. The guy is a piece of trash. That guy does not like me, and I can already tell you he is going to lose a lot more than what the polls say. That guy could go ahead and do whatever he wants to me. What is he going to do? What is he going to do? I don't plan in being in the state for a few more months. I am going to go ahead and make sure I am out of here. We are going to run a race at a national level in just a few years, folks. I am going to be a press secretary or some other shit for an actual candidate that cares for the people of this country. Governor Hogan does not care about anyone here. Governor Hogan is not someone that is going to vote with the Republicans whatsoever. The dude even said he was going to caucus with the Democrats. This dude is a freaking moron that needs to be stopped. I cannot stand that the Republican Party nominated such a moron. This dude is idiotic, and he, quite frankly, does not know how to govern. And that's what the problem is, folks, is the lack of governance we've had in this country, and we're going to go ahead and nominate someone that doesn't know how to fucking govern his own state, that doesn't know how to go ahead and see something that is good that hits him in the fucking face. This man does not want to win. But let's go back to President Trump. So Trump is going to end up winning the Electoral College. Like I said, his floor is 272. So, well, like I said, forget. I've been like I said, I'm frustrated. I've been blacklisted for working in politics ever again in the state of Maryland. I've been blacklisted by him. So let's go ahead and look at the data once another time again. So, like I said, poly market, Trump has fell, but this does not mean anything. So, poly market likes to go. The bettors in poly market also like to go on the polls. But with the polling that's going on right now, well, Trump is actually up in these states. Trump is up in the blue wall. Trump will win. We are going to make America great again. And on November 5th, Trump will be declared the 47th president of the United States on November 5th. All right, y'all, that is it for today's show. Make sure you go ahead and join me tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, 8 p.m. Eastern, we are going to go ahead and have another show. We're going to have a good friend of mine, Ken Carson, on. He's a controversial gay Republican. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. We are going, and like I said, we're going to make America great again on November 5th. Thank you all so much, and God bless.